This is USVI News, your Virgin Islands connection.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for USVI News. I'm Emily Matson. People flying into the St Croix airport will see a brand new welcoming thanks to a local fraternity alumni. The St Croix USVI alumni chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity gathered this week to unveil a new Welcome to St Croix sign at the exit of the Henry E. Roslin Airport. Governor Albert Bryan Jr., who is a Kappa Alpha Psi member, joined the group for the official unveiling. The sign's located on the south side exit of the airport to welcome airline travelers to St Croix. The St Croix USVI alumni chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Incorporated says it is happy to support tourism growth in the territory, as tourism, of course, boosts the revenue of our local economy, creates jobs, develops the infrastructures of the Virgin Islands, and plants a sense of cultural exchange between visitors. It's a good-looking sign. A reminder, there is a desperate plea from the Humane Society of St. Thomas. They need people to foster animals so they don't have to put them down. Staff at the Humane Society says they currently do not have even one cage open to help another animal. So in a few days, to free up some cages, they will be forced to begin euthanizing animals. On your screen are just some of the many animals who you can save from that fate and foster to help out the shelter during this time of overflow. The Humane Society of St. Thomas is not a no-kill shelter because they receive thousands of animals a year. And they say 2022 has been especially tough with animal intake because of an influx of strays and owner surrenders. It is a dire situation. So if you're able to help by fostering an animal, contact the Humane Society of St. Thomas at the email, which is on your screen, hsttdesk@gmail.com. The U.S. Virgin Islands will host a conference next year aimed to promote leadership among Black women. The 2023 National Organization of Black Elective Legislative, or Noble Women, annual legislative conference will be held in the territory in July. Senate President Donna Fret Gregory hosted the executive board of Noble Women on Wednesday evening on St. Thomas, as the leaders stopped in the territory to vet locations for their annual legislative conference. Noble Women is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization comprised of current and former Black women legislators. Established in 1985, Noble Women is the premier organization of Black women legislators committed to increasing and promoting the presence of Black women in government, nonprofit, and corporate leadership in the United States. The organization's annual meeting attracts more than 200 Black women legislators, along with corporate and community leaders, to discuss matters impacting Black communities nationwide. Fret Gregory was also chosen as the committee chair of the event, again, which will be held in St. Thomas next year. Alarming new data from a study which suggests advanced stage cervical cancer cases are rising in the U.S. Here's a look at the numbers and how health experts say women can protect themselves.
It has a 5-year survival rate of less than 20%, and a new study suggests late-stage cervical cancer is on the rise in the U.S.
If not diagnosed early and caught in a later stage, is very difficult to treat, like all cancers.
While the rate of early-stage cervical cancer decreased in the U.S. from 2001 to 2018, the International Journal of Gynecological Cancer reports that more cases of advanced stage 4 cervical cancer increased at an annual rate of 1.3%. The sharpest increase was in white women, especially in the South among those ages 40 to 44. Rates also increased among Black women, and this group is also the most affected overall by the disease.
If you don't come for screenings, we can't find cancers early. They only present when you have symptoms, and very often symptoms means an advanced or late stage cancer.
Atlanta OBGYN Dr. Sujatha Reddy says that's why annual exams are critical. Smoking is another risk factor, and since most cervical cancers are caused by the human papillomavirus, Reddy says those eligible for an HPV vaccine should get one.
It is a vaccine to prevent cancer. I mean, something you might see in Star Trek, right? It's incredible. So the HPV vaccine really should be helping us prevent cancer down the road.
And sticking with women's health care today, there is a push to change the narrative around a subject which affects most American women, but rarely gets discussed openly. We're talking about period pain. According to one study, about 80% of women report being less productive at work or school while on their periods. Now, one company is raising awareness by giving men the opportunity to know how it feels. Jamie Yuccas reports.
The pain can be debilitating. But typically, period cramps go unnoticed by men.
Oh my God, no, how can you function like this?
You can't. Until now.
We put them where you would have ovaries if men had them.
Lux Perry is CEO and co-founder of Some Days, a Canadian period pain relief company. Their team brought their electric period pain simulator to this year's Calgary Stampede, where they managed to bring the toughest of cowboys to their knees. They're trying to use the simulator to take the stigma out of talking about period pains.
The simulator and what Some Days is really trying to do is open up that conversation in a way that's not awkward. It's funny, it's lighthearted.
But it hasn't always been a laughing matter for Perry, who suffers from endometriosis.
It impacted my ability to attend school, my ability to attend jobs, hold a job.
Endometriosis often causes more extreme pain during menstrual periods.
Endometriosis is regularly mistaken for period pain, which is just so absolutely absurd.
Endometriosis is the thickening of tissue surrounding the uterus. Millions of U.S. women have the condition, which may disrupt fertility, but some don't realize it.
Because pain in general, menstrual pain, is so common, I think it's hard for many people to know the distinction, the difference, and hard to get diagnosed.
Dr. Tara Shirazian is the director of NYU Langone Center for Fibroid Care.
Especially for young women, young patients, it's very, very important to diagnose early.
She says there are treatments, but they don't always help, and compassion for those suffering goes a long way.
Treatments for endometriosis include birth control pills, surgery, and acupuncture. Moderna is suing Pfizer and BioNTech, alleging patent infringement over the COVID-19 vaccine. Moderna's CEO says they believe Pfizer and BioNTech unlawfully copied Moderna's inventions, and they have continued to use them without permission. The patent infringement lawsuits were filed in a U.S. district court and a German court. Moderna said it filed patents from 2010 to 2016 for its mRNA technology. And the company claims Pfizer and BioNTech then copied that technology to make their COVID-19 vaccine. Moderna says it doesn't want Pfizer to remove its vaccine from the market, but wants Pfizer and BioNTech to compensate it for using two key features of its mRNA patented technology. The head of the Federal Reserve said Friday interest rates will continue to rise. Fed Chair Jerome Powell says Americans should expect interest rates to climb until inflation starts to fall. He warned that he expects the central bank to continue raising interest rates in a way that will cause, quote, some pain to the U.S. economy. But by continually raising the cost of borrowing, there are signs inflation is easing. And there is some good news for shoppers, too, as major retail chains, some of them, have a glut of unsold supplies and are offering deep discounts to slim inventory. A cruise ship rescued 6 Cuban migrants adrift at sea on a makeshift raft last week. The video shows the dramatic encounter on Friday as the Carnival cruise liner sailed from Tampa, Florida to Mexico. Patrick Oppman has the story.
Video taken aboard a cruise ship shows the dramatic rescue of 6 Cuban migrants at sea. The Carnival Cruise Line ship Paradise was heading on Friday to Cozumel, Mexico, and that's when passengers aboard noticed this small ship, essentially a homemade raft that were using a small piece of fabric as a sail, and they told us paddling by hand. You can hear in the video the passengers encouraging, yelling to the migrants, the 6 migrants, as they get closer and closer to the cruise ship and are eventually rescued. According to the Carnival Cruise Line's representatives, the migrants were taken aboard, the 5 men and 1 woman. They were given food and water and then turned over to Mexican officials when finally the ship did reach land. This is only the latest example of cruise ships rescuing Cuban migrants at sea, as we see an increasing exodus of Cubans from this island. Over 100,000, nearly 200,000 Cubans have crossed in the fiscal year 2022 from Mexico into the United States, and thousands of Cubans have taken to the sea in what is a very dangerous journey, taking to the sea aboard makeshift rafts like this one. The Cuban government blames U.S. sanctions for the increase in illegal migration, but U.S. officials say that the power outages and food shortages that are being experienced on this island are the result of the Cuban government's own failed economic policies. Patrick Ottman, CNN Havana.